Greeting YouTube. I listen to a lot of NPR stations, and in fact, if you look at my phone, I have of the top four icons on my list on my phone right here. It is WGBH, that's out of Boston, New Hampshire Public Radio, and CRB, which is an offshoot of GBH. I should probably put those next to each other. That is classical radio Boston. And then one next to it is a new app I picked up recently, which is Radio Garden. Now, the first three I mentioned are like my three favorite NPR stations I listen to on a regular basis. And I discovered, I don't know, I guess it was last year, maybe the year before, that there is a station out of Concord, WNHN, which is a public radio station, but they play a lot of blues and jazz, and it's a genre or genres of film music that I happen to really like. I've been in blues for a very long time, but I've recently been getting much more appreciative of jazz and what is entailed in the playing of it and the artistry behind it and the creativity. So having a station that plays a mix, it also plays a lot of tangential things. It'll talk about stuff that, that's been inspired by the blues and things. It also talk to some local artists like in the New England area, which is nice. But the problem is that I couldn't find a way to listen to it correctly until I found Radio Garden. Now, I had been listening to W8NHN by streaming it through Chrome for a while, and that worked, but it wasn't perfect. And then I booted Chrome off my phone and I don't use it on my computer. I'm using Firefox now on both. And when I was streaming it through Firefox, one day it just stopped functioning. Like when you click on the station when we're streaming it, whether through the app or through a browser directly from their webpage, you'd get the little blurb. You've reached, pardon my dryer in the background. You've reached, you're listening to NHN. You get the little blurb that they give you at the beginning of the connection. But it would come in at like half speed, or even a third speed, and then there would be silence. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I like deleted it off. I had a thumbnail for an icon on my phone to just that page was bookmarked, and I got rid of that, and I just tried going through opening up through a new search, and he'll play it at a really slow speed, and then I would get no music. So I started poking around looking for something I could use to stream radios stations, and I found a couple of them apps off the Play Store, and I don't even remember what they were, but I didn't like them because it was just horrible buffering issues. Now you just start listening to it, and all of a sudden it would just stop, and it would buffer, and then it would play again for like 30 seconds, and it would buffer again, and I hated it. Then I did a little more research, and I found that Radio Garden was well considered, so I gave them a try, and I got the app strictly to listen to this station. That's the only reason I got it. It's got many other features, none of which I've explored because at the moment that's all I need it for. But I have never had a single buffering issue with Radio Garden, not once. It has been seamless, which I really appreciate. Now, as I mentioned, I have apps specifically for three other NPR stations, but WNHN doesn't have an app specifically for their station. Why, I don't know. They've been around for a while, and I can't imagine that there isn't some kind of NPR app template you couldn't pick up, because other NPR stations have their own apps. I can't find an app for that station, but regardless, I found Radio Garden, so I don't really need one. I've got this app, and it works perfectly. Every time I want to click on that, it functions, and that's what I want out of it. And I want to be able to listen to that station whenever I feel like it, and I can. Most of the time, it's like before work when I'm reading gaming books, I'm listening to that station. And I also use it in my shop when I'm downstairs. I'll put that on in the background while I'm working on things. So, yeah, I don't know if you've ever tried Radio Garden. If you have, I'd like to hear your experiences, but maybe you've never heard of it. I'm really happy with its performance, even though I freely admit I am underutilizing the app's potential. I just want to listen to this one station, and that makes me very happy that I can. So I don't really need anything else, I guess. So tell me, what has your experience with Radio Garden, if any, been like?